Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your host, John, and today on the channel we have a very special Veterans Day video. First of all, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there who have served in the military, especially here in the United States. That's what we're celebrating here today. But anyone who served in the military, thank you so much for your service. And today we're going to be talking about the best years of our lives. This is the 1946 Best Picture winner, a film that I have never seen, directed by William Wilder. Why are we talking about this here today? Well, Stone Gasman, our channel director, this was actually his choice review for the month. He asked me to actually talk about this movie on Veterans Day because the film itself is about three veterans returning home after World War II, all from three different branches in the military. Frederick March plays Technical Sergeant Al Stevenson. Dana Andrews as Captain Fred Derry. Now, he is in the Air Force, whereas Al was actually in the Army, if I am correct. And in the Navy, we have Homer Parrish, and he actually lost his hands in the Navy when the ship he was on got attacked and bombed and burned his arms, like basically down to the nubs, and that's why he has these mechanical arms that he is really good at using. And the movie itself is about 3 hours long, but it absolutely flies by. You can see why this movie won the Best Picture and won 7 Academy Awards. I mean, for a movie to hold your attention for this long, and at the time it came out, you know, it's really dealing with some dark subject matter in a very serious and very respectable way. This is not something I would expect from the movies in the 1940s. And that's another reason why I can see this one Best Picture, because it's saying a lot of the quiet stuff out loud. When you hear about the 1940s and you hear about the war and what everybody went through and how the world just stopped because of World War II, people have to come back and readjust. There have been so many movies made about the Vietnam War and how those soldiers were treated when they come back. You know, this generation doesn't really get talked about as much. It's almost like they came back and they had to reassimilate into society really without any issue. Unfortunately, these guys saw some things and their lives changed completely. Now, Homer is the most obvious one because his flaws are because his issues are on the outside. He's somebody who doesn't feel independent anymore. Like in the beginning part of the movie, when they're on the plane trip back to the United States, back to their hometown where all three of these guys grew up, you know, this is kind of where their own relationship starts to form because they can understand each other, respect each other, even though they all have different ranks. They come from the same place. They all have different jobs as well, different places in society, but when you did this together, you have a certain bond. You can respect each other because you guys all went through it. And you can see early when Homer's character, you know, he's going to smoke the cigarettes. Everyone, you know, the other two soldiers, like, let him light the cigarette. You know, they let him use the matches. He's more than capable of using those hands that he's got. But when he gets back into society, you know, people want to really help him. And he's like, I guess I have to learn to accept that. Even though it makes him uncomfortable because he's lost that individualism. He can't really be his own person anymore. But luckily for him, the person who he wants to be with, Wilma, you know, she cares about him no matter what. He just can't see that yet. He has to come to that realization as the film goes on. And, you know, his character is very well done, just like all the characters in this movie. The standouts, though, for me were Al and Fred. Fred comes home, you know, before he went away, he was just a soda jockey. He was like working the soda counter at the drugstore, and that's all he was. And he's like, yeah, it's not really much of a job. I knew when I came back, I wouldn't want to get back to that. I wanted to do something bigger because he was so good in the Air Force at dropping bombs on people. So he thinks that's going to be enough for him to piggyback into a great life. He's also got this wife over here that he married a little bit too fast, and clearly she just wanted to marry a guy in a soldier suit. She doesn't give a shit about him. She gives a shit about having money and having a good time and someone taking care of her. She's a true, through and through gold digger. And it's really sad to see because Fred is a good guy. And Fred starts to get a little bit fancy on Al's daughter, Peggy, in this movie. You know, she's a little bit more around his age because Al, even though he was in the war, he's an older man. He's a banker. He's just an upper class member of society. But he's spent a lot of time with other men who have done the same thing as him. And it's given him a peek into like what the world is really like. So even though he might live in these luxury apartments with this great job with all these like snooty people, that's not who he is anymore. And you can see he's really struggling with alcoholism when he gets back. You know, reassimilating himself into his own family. He doesn't even know his own kids. They're not the same people they were when he went away. His wife, very loving and caring about him. I mean, my God. You know, at first I was like, is she going to be like a stuck-up housewife? But no, there is so much more to her, so much more nuance to her. So well done in this movie. Just great character. Everyone is written very well. Everyone is doing their jobs very well to illustrate to us everything that is happening with these characters and the characters that surround them in their lives. They're fighting these battles alone almost, even though like they have people that kind of care about them. You know, society is not just going to let them back in despite what they did for this country. They're not really giving them that much grace, and that's kind of I mean, I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing, but these people have a lot weighing on their minds. But, like, people aren't necessarily reaching out to help them. It's almost like, thank you, but we have to go on. Like, the way that Fred gets treated when he wants to go get this job. And they're like, you don't really, while you were there, that's all you were doing was dropping bombs. I really can't give you a great job if that's all you were doing. And you can understand their frustrations. But the movie itself still is going to build towards a happy ending, making sure that Fred gets the girl that he wants, one who's going to appreciate him for him, love him for him. And you can see that throughout the movie. Like, she just genuinely cares about him, and it's not about the money. Unfortunately, he was with a woman where it was all about the money. Al's still going to be struggling with alcoholism, but he's going to get better. Like, we could really feel that. Homer, he's going to live this happy life, obviously, because he's just getting married. And it looks like life is going to really go well for him because he found a woman who is going to love him as well. And this movie, it was tremendous. This is a 5-star, 10 out of 10 film. Like I said, almost 3 hours long. You wouldn't know it. You don't feel it at all. That's when you know you have yourself a masterpiece. I completely understand why this won Best Picture. I mean, this director, William Wyler, actually has won Best Director 3 times. That's a rare feat in film. I mean, Martin Scorsese waited forever to get his one Academy Award for Best Director. William Wyler won 3 of them, and that's just because he knows how to construct a hell of a film. This was the highest grossing film, they said, since 1939's Gone with the Wind. And it just shows that people were on board with something like this. And it would be about 20 more years before the actual code in Hollywood was officially, like, dissolved. And you can probably have a little bit more of a darker ending. And that's probably why movies about the Vietnam are more memorable than, say, a movie like this, which is kind of, I feel like, been a little bit lost to the test of time. But Stone Gasman said that this is his favorite film ever. I'm so glad I finally got to review it and check it out. The Warner Archive Blu-ray, like a lot of Warner Archive Blu-ray, very, very bare bones, but hey, it's a good way to check out the film. I think it was about $20. Maybe that's something that'll get the 4K Blu-ray treatment sometime down the line. I would like every Best Picture winner eventually to get the 4K Blu-ray treatment. I mean, Out of Africa is getting a 4K. That's not one of the most beloved Best Picture winners, but it is a 1980s Best Picture winner, so it's still a little bit on people's mind. Robert Redford just passed away. He's on people's mind. A movie like this, that 1940s Best Picture winner, maybe people aren't thinking about it that much, but hey, on Veterans Day, you can do way worse. But hey, on Veterans Day, I really can't think of many movies that are better to watch to really appreciate what people who go to war had to go through than watching this movie right here, and I can highly recommend it. So if I was going to give a final score to the film, it is a 10 out of 10. It's a masterpiece. Absolutely check this one out. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it here for me on another episode of Let's Talk. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video if you could. We also have channel memberships, so if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel like John Doe Juggalo, Ben Rondo, and Harvey Scott, you can do that. Or you can even bump it up to the channel directors like Nicholas Head, Stone Gas Man, Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews, Uncle V, and Kevin Kruger. Or if you'd even like to, bump it up to the channel bankroll members like Mr. Smelly Potato. But of course, guys, if you got no money to throw my way, I don't mind at all. I just hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.